You're watching Chicago's very own WGN News.
May 1st is National College Decision Day. That's the deadline for seniors to pick their college. For many, it's the biggest choice they've ever made. And one thing that is surely playing a factor in this decision for kids and parents is how to pay for it. Craig Bolanos is the CEO of Wealth Management. He's here with some insight. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me back.
Now, we've heard, I've heard from a couple of different people, this FAFSA form you fill out, which is like is that the financial aid form?
Right, the free application for federal student aid.
Some people say, you know what? I know for a fact me and my husband might be in that, over a certain amount of money, so why should we bother filling this out? Then they're just going to know how much we make and we'll never get anything sent to us, right?
Well, that's a common assumption. Everyone's like, I make too much money, I'm not going to get any financial relief. And I just want everyone to remember, fill out the FAFSA form early and often. You might be surprised. Financial aid is supposed to be needs-based. Don't get me wrong, it is. But I also think it has a little bit to do with priority. In some cases, it's first come, first serve. So I've seen circumstances where families have gotten monies when otherwise we wouldn't think it could have come.
Just because they were the first to fill it out?
Absolutely, hands
down.
This
is sort of like a unified financial application form that kind of goes to everybody?
Yeah, it's free, number one. Don't get tricked going to the websites that charge you money for it. And number two, everyone fills out the same document.
All right, so scholarships, we all know we should be out there looking for. Is there an easy way to figure out what are the scholarships as opposed to trying to track them all down?
Right, so you know what? I think a couple of things. One, it's word of mouth. Two, it's as simple as the search engine, going on Google and seeing what's there locally. But the overlooked part is high school students and their parents need to leverage the resource, which is their high school guidance counselor. I mean, if you think about it, those people are there to help coordinate the college experience. That's what they do all day long. And if you start there, I think you're going to make some real traction looking for those smaller scholarships.
Yeah, so is it, you might be, if you're of Lithuanian descent and you have one parent, there's these very specific scholarships, right? But your guidance counselor is not going to know about all of those specific ones. Do you just Google all that yourself, or is there a place to go to that makes that easy?
Well, you know what? I wish there was a web portal that aggregated all of these different permutations that you mentioned, Robin. But I think the reality is this is that first opportunity for kids to have this self-responsibility, the first chance for them to be fully engaged in the process, and it just takes time and effort.
I see.
All right, you say do not use the Uniform Gift from Minors Act, which is what?
Well, so, we have all these acronyms, right, in the financial world, UTMA, UGMA, etc. And back in the 80s, back in the 90s, prior to the invention of the state-sponsored college savings plan, like the 529, we would save in the names of our children. And the only problem with that is, number one, it becomes the child's money at the age of what? 18 or 21, depending on the state you're living in. And number two, when we fill out that FAFSA form, money in the child's name counts against you in that financial aid equation.
Really? So even if they have a savings account at the local bank, if they have that could count against you?
You have to report the asset. And I'm not talking about, I've got two boys at home, a sophomore and an 8th grader. I'm not talking about the 200 or the 500 in their savings account. What I'm really talking about is if we were creating a saving and investment plan in a custodial account, that would be a no-no.
I see. You also pay for college with tax reductions. How do you do that?
Well, you know what? We just got through tax season, right? Together, earlier this year we were talking about ways to save on taxes, and I think far too many people are just missing things. There's the American Opportunity Credit. There's the Lifetime Earned Credit. There's a tax deduction for tuition and fees. Now, all of them are based on income. You make too much money, you can't take them. But I just see people time and time again, when they come into our office, we look through their tax return, and I'm like, you could have taken this, you could have taken that. So if you're entering college for the first time, get with a qualified tax professional to make sure you get all the credits and deductions you're entitled to.
On the 529s, some people might say, well, why wouldn't you do it in Illinois? You get a bit of a tax break. But if the rate of return is bigger in some other states, Isn't that a better payoff?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you always have to evaluate the merit of the investments, right? But I do want to say the state of Illinois, and I poke fun at the state from time to time, not being able to pass a budget, the indebtedness, but in Illinois, we have 3 separate plans. We have a prepaid tuition plan, we have 2 college savings plans in the form of 529s like you alluded to, and I think if you're an Illinois resident and you look hard, you're going to find some low-cost, terrific options in-state.
All right, well, you can find Craig at investwithwmg.com and on the radio Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on AM 560.